Welcome back inside Amalie Arena, and some of the fans sporting that new look. Back in black for the Lightning starting tonight as we have a look at our starting goaltenders, brought to you by Papa John's.
I see the respective records so far this season. Save percentages are all really key. That's what everybody kind of looks at more, and they've got some respectable ones there. John Cooper behind the bench for the Lightning as you see his numbers, and his counterpart for the Sharks, Todd McClellan. You see his winning mark over 7 years, and he won 195 games in his first 4 years, most in the history of the NHL.
Gord Dwyer working with Francois Saint-Laurent. The referees Tim Nowak, Brad Kovacic are the linesmen for this one. The Lightning 2-8 in their last 10 against the Sharks, and the last 2 games in this building have been crazy. The Sharks winning 5-4 last year. The year before, the Lightning won 6-5 in overtime. Antti Niemi was in goal for both of those. Boy, when he thinks of this building, Chief, probably the first word that comes to mind is fireworks. Here's Jason Garrison shooting a save by Niemi. Rebound. He has to make a stop right there, and Andre Palat. Garrison, it's back against the speedy Matt Nieto. He hands it down to Logan Couture, and Couture will just send it wide. Garrison checked by Marleau, and the pass out for Tyler Johnson. Palat circles back to take it.
Boy, quick start. 2 unbelievable chances. I don't think Niemi even got set after the anthem. He had come up with 2 big saves.
And now he's saying to himself, not again. Mirko Mueller, number 41, their 19-year-old defenseman, first rounder from 2013 out there with Brent Burns. Here's Alex Killorn centering in front. Callahan trying to jam it home, but Niemi stopped him right near the goal line. And Tomas Hertl lobs the puck to center. Anton Strawman playing it. So Killorn back in the lineup for the Lightning, injured against the Washington Capitals on the last homestand. Missing 4 games. Puck is deflected. Killorn getting to it. Checked by Brent Burns. And coming off the bench, Steven Stamkos. Works against Hertl. Circles. Now coming off the bench, Nemestikov, the shot blocked. Another one blocked by Mueller, who has done an excellent job of that. Leading all rookies in blocked shots, and we get a stoppage in play.
On the Lightning, you always wonder about how you're going to start a game after a road trip. And boy, they've really been pouring it on to the Sharks at this point. They've been going to the net well, and Niemi's had to be very, very quick and very strong as the Lightning have jammed that front of the net on him and have tried to jam it through him.
Hand pass called against the Lightning. Now, certainly Tampa Bay has got incentive to get off to a good start. John Cooper not happy at all with the start in Chicago on Tuesday in the final game of that road trip. Ben Bishop holding the Lightning in. Cedric Paquette scored a shorthanded goal. Amazingly, the Lightning led after the first 1-0. And the Sharks lately have really struggled. They have fallen behind 3-0 to the Panthers, 3-0 in their previous game to Chicago, and 3-1 in the game before that to the Dallas Stars. So they have not been quick starters in recent games. Here's a shot on goal by Tommy Wingels and a save by Ben Bishop.
And the interesting thing about that stat, Rick, that's the only plus goal differential they have in the 3 periods is the first period.
James Shepard centers this line. Pass around to Jason Demers. He shoots into a crowd, deflected away, and back to the veteran Scott Hannon. His second tour of duty with the Sharks. Barclay Goodrow is checked in the corner by Stamkos. Stamkos centering for Jonathan Drouin on the left, it appears, and Vlad Nemestikov on the right. Both those wingers left-hand shots, and of course Nemestikov has been playing center. We'll get an icing called against the Lightning.
Well, let's take a look at the players not in lineup tonight. As you see, the Lightning with Hedman, Conley are injured. Paquette and Barberio, coach's decision. Brown has been injured. Alex Stalock, their backup goalie, as well. Scott Burish and Irwin are healthy scratches, or as they say now, coach's decision.
Well, apparently Stalock's going to have knee surgery. He was injured a few games ago, and as he has been sent back to San Jose. Troy Grosnick out of Union College is the backup. He's yet to play in the NHL. Here's a shot by Marc-Edouard Vlasic. A try off the side of the goal there by Thomas Hertl. And the shot on goal right in front by Pavelski. Stopped by Bishop. Joe Pavelski. Had it taken over by Andre Schuster. And the pass through the legs of Eric Brewer. Joe Thornton will pick it up. He circles, looking to drop it back. It's deflected right back to him. And Joe Pavelski, a 41-goal man, third in the league in goal scoring last year. On the cycle with Tomas Hertl. Marc-Edouard Vlasic, one of the better defensemen in the league. The pass to Pavelski. Bishop right there, and he's strong early again, Chief.
Where he has got to be really strong, where the Lightning have struggled in so far, is in their own zone. They don't take anybody out of the play. It's a lot of stick checking. Watch this play here. Move around in that quick shot. He didn't get all of it, Pavelski, but Ben, right in the, look at the position he had right there, and he was square to the puck, not the body. A lot of times with that, as I keep pointing out, that winger on his offside, you can, as a goalie, you tend to line up with his body and not the puck, and that's a 2 to 3 foot difference.
Jason Garrison slides the puck around the boards down the ice. Mueller getting there to the dot for the whistle on icing.
Well, let's take a look at tonight's keys, brought to you by your Southern Ford dealers. And play fast and smart. That's what we talked about, and they had a good start out there. And the neutral zone is going to be a key thing as well. If you manage that neutral zone, you can really cut down the speed of San Jose, and they play a fast game as well.
Andrew Desjardins sent to face off against Brian Boyle. Lightning win the face-off. Gudas double-teamed. His pass hit Tyler Kennedy. The ex-Penguin sends it wide to Bishop. Harrison has to eat that puck in the corner. 2 Sharks on him. And Gudas with a pass that's blocked once again by Kennedy. JT Brown plays it out. Sharks, as we talked about on Lightning Live pregame, 16 of their first 21 games on the road. They're on a 7-game, 12-day trip right now. And Todd McClellan's team dropped the first 2 to the Blackhawks and Panthers. So they got a ways to go before they finally wind their way home.
And they have another 7-game trip later on in the season. So they've run away from home for a long time here.
And of course, they're going to get a lot of home games in the meantime. But Chief, we keep reading and hearing about the studies done where if you're not in the playoff picture by a certain date, usually around Thanksgiving, you don't make the playoffs. At least that's been the tendency in the percentages. And the percentages are going to be tough on this team because, you know, they're above water right now in a difficult Pacific Division. But they've got to play all these road games early.
Yeah, that's a strange thing. I don't think anybody can figure it out if it's by design or if it was just a luck of the draw. But, you know, I would think that when you saw that right off the bat, you know, that you would probably question the idea of being out on the road for so long at the start.
Haven't helped themselves. They're 2-3 at home in the 5 games they have been. At SAP Arena, the pass out for Joe Thornton. And from center, he'll shoot it in. Around for Pavelski. He'll let it go to Hertl. Hertl outstanding last year with a great start to his rookie year. A 4-goal game back in October the 8th. And then suffered a knee injury and had surgery after 15 goals his first 37 games. Here's Palat, stick handling in for the Lightning. Tyler Johnson, 2-on-4 as Tampa Bay changing up ice. And Patrick Marleau bounces it back to center.
I'll tell you what, the Lightning did a nice job. Kucherov just took out that Thomas Hertl with a solid body check. The Lightning got the puck out of trouble very, very quickly.
Ryan Callahan with a check on Matt Nieto out of Boston University. He's a Long Beach, California native. Pass out to the point. Jason Demers winding, looking for an angle. He'll let it rip. Missed the net by a healthy margin, and Brewer eases it out. Demers back for it, working with Hannon. Nieto will start it in with Logan Couture. Puck left now for Schuster. Good pass ahead for Nemestikov. Now ahead for Valtteri Filppula. Alex Killorn takes over. Demers cuts it off. Back for Hannon. Killorn pressuring. Tommy Wingels helps out the Sharks in deep, and he's checked by Nemestikov. Killorn throws a check along the boards. Nemestikov controls. Killorn, a good test for that upper body injury coming back against Hannon, a pretty sturdy type there. Garrison trying to hold it in. James Shepard takes it away. Garrison back. Shepard holding. Sharks changing up ice. Nemestikov has the puck. Gudas finding Steven Stamkos. Steven quietly accumulated his 200th career assist on the Kucherov goal in the third period in Chicago the other night. Matt Carl, who started his career in San Jose, on for the moment with Gudas. Stamkos with a pass off the stick of Jonathan Drouin. And Burns angles it out. Pass to Barclay Goodrow. Will get an icing call.
Yeah, you could probably add a key to the game about the face-offs. That's something where the Lightning, if you want to play that puck possession game, and that's the key. It starts from that face-off circle every single time. So you have to be really solid and strong in that area, especially when you're in the offensive zone.
Stamkos and Desjardins on the face-off. Stamkos wins it. Carl curling it back for Drouin. And behind the net, Callahan couldn't hold it. Strawman pinching in. Already we've seen a couple of changes with the combinations for the Lightning. Callahan wheels it in front. In traffic, Stamkos couldn't get a stick on it. And it's taken away by the Sharks. Skated out by big Brent Burns, who goes 6'5", 230 pounds.
Guess he was in front of the net for that, Anton Strawman.
Here comes Stamkos, heads up the middle. And it's fired just wide by Drouin. Comes back out to Callahan. Schuster takes it. Drouin corrals it. His pass is tipped. Tyler Kennedy to center ice. Checked by Brewer. And he's checked on the forecheck here by the Sharks as it's deflected in front. Brewer has it. Sharks with Kennedy out there, Desjardins, and Ty McGinn, whom we saw with the Flyers last year, acquired for draft pick. Schuster picks it up. Shots now 4-3. San Jose's had 4 straight shots on goal after the Lightning had the first 3. Boyle to center. Demers. Chased by Brendan Morrow. Tight turn around the net. Hannon, though, had it poked away. Boyle with his reach got there. He's submarined as Hannon went sliding into the corner, and the play moves to center. Picked up by Marleau. Quick pass ahead for Nieto. And Garrison right there with him. Twice he's had the speed and the angle, Chief, to get back there and make sure that Speedy Nieto couldn't get any room.
That's such a key. You know, Nieto was actually their first pick a few years back, but even though it came in the second round, because they traded that first-round pick to Minnesota to get Burns. Or part of the deal, anyway, to get Burns.
Tyler Johnson clogs things up at center, loses his stick in the process, picks up another one going by the bench. Meantime, his winger and good friend Andre Palat controlling the puck. Carl bouncing it to the point, held in there by Burns, and he stepped into by Palat. Dangerous pass, but it reached its destination. Kucherov across for Palat. Pass back to Kucherov. Shoots. Saved by Niemi. Rebound deflects to Strawman. Carl. Now Palat with it. Shooting. Tipped. Kucherov backhands it. Stopped by Niemi. As he was lurching forward to stop that shot. Tapped away by Thornton, who's trying to get off for the Sharks. Here comes Johnson for another thrust. Leaving it for Palat. Sharks close ground there as Callahan helping out. Pried loose by Vlasic. Justin Braun gave it up. Stepping in, Filppula right from the bench. Braun didn't see him. Filppula controls. Down he goes. Looking for Callahan, fronted by Braun. Filppula wins the battle in the corner. Back for Callahan. Killorn swings by. Hands it now to Filppula. Brewer takes a look. Filppula with a shot. It's blocked by Vlasic. And Goodrow joined now by Wingels. Schuster has to let him go. Brewer meets him in the corner. Tommy Wingels always looking for the hit. Picked up now by Goodrow. He couldn't get a shot away. Shepard loads up, shoots, and it skimmed off Schuster wide. Sharks have it behind the net. Still, it's now contested for as Filppula reaching in there grabs it. Vlad Nemestikov controls. Draws attention from a couple of Sharks. He'll chase his own dump in and challenge Jason Demers as Stamkos joins the play off the bench. Kennedy got it loose. Couldn't get it out. Drouin with a shot, and it's steered away by Niemi. 9:10 to go here in the first period of continuous action as the Lightning and Sharks are scoreless.
The Lightning and the Sharks this evening in Amalie. Tampa Bay are returning home and back in black. A new third uniform for the Bolts. They actually held a dress rehearsal earlier this morning in practice attire, breaking in their new gear prior to this evening's game. The socks and the pants. And Brian Boyle, the veteran centerman, was complaining that his black leather gloves are just too stiff. He wasn't used to them. They were brand new. As you can see, there's also 20,000 back in black T-shirts that have been distributed here this evening with the big bolt across the chest. Chairman Jeff Vinik was the strongest proponent of this back to the future look, a tribute to the team's first color scheme and Rick-in-Chief, the tradition of the 2004 Stanley Cup championship.
Thanks very much, Paul. Yeah, Brian Bradley, Pat Jablonski, he's in the house. Any of the other originals? There's a save by Bishop on the backhand try by Pavelski. They got to like that look that they started out with back in 1992.
Yeah. I know Phil Esposito was really big on that look, obviously.
Puck comes to Niemi. He covers it up.
Well, they're going to be wearing them for 12 times, and mostly Saturday nights. In fact, I think that the rest of the Saturday night games are going to see that black Bolts jersey.
And special 4-game plan for just the occasions, Chief. Plenty of chances for Brian Boyle's gloves to get broken in. Sharks come up with it. Vlasic moving it to Couture. Lobbing it ahead, knocked in the air by Gudas. And it was touched with a high stick by the Lightning. Brad Kovacic on the call. The Holy Hog barbecue package scores you 2 tickets, 2 barbecue sandwiches, 2 sides, 2 sodas for all Monday and Tuesday games. Packages start as low as $75. Buy now at TampaBayLightning.com/tickets. The fans certainly gobbling up the new jerseys as they become available. You could order them back when we really introduced them on FanFest during training camp. You could place an order, and now they're in stock, and everybody's picking them up.
Well, I understand, too, that they're making one. Remember, they had that spoof on what this jersey was going to look like, and they had the palm trees on the bottom of them, and Radko Gudas thought they were the greatest thing going.
Andre Schuster wasn't so excited about it.
Yeah, but I think they're going to make a Gudas shirt up with palm trees on the bottom of it in the black jersey.
I guarantee you that'll be a big seller. Pass to the Lightning line. Filppula controlling it. Hands it off to Gudas, who looks good in the new jersey and would look good with the palm trees, too. And now he's trying to look good with that half cage, half shield until things heal and he can go back to just wearing the helmet. Shot punched away by Niemi. Hannon with it. Demers moving it up the boards. Gudas there. He'll throw it back to the corner. Scott Hannon after it. Hannon angles it through Garrison. Got it into Couture. He's onside. He shoots Bishop. A save. Rebound cleared by Gudas.
Wow. Ben's just picking up where he left off in Chicago. That's interesting, you know, when you take a look at it, because a year ago he had those 38 saves against the Hawks, and that's when he took off. He won 7 of the next 8.
He makes a save here and had traffic to deal with as McGinn was driving the net, and he does a great job at holding that play in for the Sharks. Knocked the puck out of the air, kept it on the line. Here is Mueller with a shot. Stop! And Bishop covers it up. Well, the Sharks have put 8 pucks on Ben Bishop, and he just got a piece of that one to keep it scoreless. What a shocker. Ben Bishop busy in the first period. We might as well call him Ben Busy. He had an interesting take on the new uniform system this morning.
Yeah, it's cool. It's almost like a playoff atmosphere out there in the morning skate. All the shirts are in the seats, and I know it'll be loud tonight. I just hope it's not too dark and I can see the puck.
Maybe that'll be his middle name now, BBB.
Yep.
Ben Busy Bishop. Because he has been outstanding here.
Busy Ben.
Yep, 9-7 shots favoring the Sharks here with 7:05 remaining, but that one big one when they were in all alone on him was a huge save.
Strawman calmly against two Sharks controls that puck. Carl with it. Pressured. And it's held in by Braun. Bishop out to handle it. And a rifle it up the board. Stopped by Thornton. Back for Hertl. Leaving it for Jumbo Joe. Reaches Justin Braun. Sharks now with a try toward the net. It's blocked in a crowd of players. Bounces to Braun. Keeps it in the attacking zone. And Thornton handing it now to Vlasic. On with a shot. It's tipped and it's deflected out of play. That might have hit a lightning stick, and then Pavelski in front. Two sticks found that puck. Here's a try that's knocked down by Carl. Palat had it worked away. Pavelski cuts in. Had it taken away from behind by Johnson.
What a play by Johnson. Ooh. Again, all the Sharks are doing is just controlling the puck. Nobody really trying to eliminate them from the play, and then they just make a change and get fresh bodies out there.
A minute ago, the chance is 5-1 San Jose. It's got to be a couple more in the Sharks' favor now. Barclay Goodrow was not drafted. Outstanding junior career. He finished up at North Bay last year and somehow not drafted, but the Sharks have him now and in the lineup in his 5th NHL game. It's played in by Nemestikov. Burns saw that hit coming from Stamkos, shrugs it off. Drouin worked it free, and Burns back for the puck. Stamkos takes it. Fires in front. Nemestikov, a shot, a save by Niemi. Back of the point, Garrison rips one just wide.
Boy, he got all of that one, too.
And the rebound so fast off the end boards. Drouin couldn't get a stick on it. Shepard ahead for Wingles, and he's bodied by Gudas. And we get a whistle here as Gudas is going to get a penalty for interference. Lightning shorthanded when we come back.
Sharks going on the power plays to bring you back into the first period on social media night. We've been getting a lot of great feedback about these black unis from you guys on Twitter at SunSportsBolts, which brings us to tonight's Twitter poll question. Which of the previous jerseys is your favorite? Hashtag TB1 for the original. Hashtag TB2 for the Waves. Hashtag TB3 for the second generation, which they wore during that magical 2011 playoff run. Hashtag TB4 for the third generation, their current jersey. And hashtag TB5 for the Blue Bolts. So tweet us your pick. We'll reveal the winner in our postgame show.
Thanks, Kelly. Interesting question. I would go for the current Lightning blue jersey.
Yeah.
Toyota power play chance for the Sharks, and Bishop tested right off the bat as Burns lets it go from long distance.
Let's take a look at this play that they called the penalty on now. When you take a look at this, here comes a pass up to him. He touches the pass. He's hit. The thing of it is, until the other guy touches the puck, you're still the puck carrier. And it was instant. It wasn't like it was after he dumped it in. So where was the interference? You can't hit the puck carrier? I have no idea about this.
Lightning shorthanded 6 times in Chicago. They killed off all 6 penalties and scored a shorthanded goal. Their best results in the penalty kill in a while. And they'd love to get that started once again here on home ice. Thornton holds it now for Marleau. To the point to Pavelski. Burns back to Pavelski. Here's Burns firing a save by Bishop. Rebound is that stopped by Bishop as he reached out side of the goal. Pavelski now to Burns. Pavelski feeding it. The shot by Marleau. Stopped by Bishop. Cleared by Carl. And the Sharks remain in the attacking zone. Burns now to Couture. It's kept wide by Bishop. And the Lightning get to it. It's fired away by Strawman, and they'll get a much-needed change with 1:08 to go in the penalty.
Oh, they've had 4 shots on goal already. Really good ones as well.
Vlasic shoots it in, tipped by Bishop. Garrison double-teamed along the boards. Now gets some help. Tyler Johnson, Eric Brewer involved. And Garrison content to kill some clock along the boards if he can. Down to 42 seconds on the Gudas penalty. Nieto trying to pry it loose. Garrison doing a tremendous job. We've complimented him using his feet earlier. Now he's just keeping him still and the puck in between and bottling up the Sharks. Palana Johnson busted out shorthanded.
Boy, good gap control for the Sharks. They stood right up on the play and they didn't allow him to get in.
Wingels shoots a save by Bishop. Rebound fired over the net. Bishop got clobbered in the head. Here's Demers shooting, and Bishop makes the save without the stick. He scrambles to get it, and Hurdle was trying to prevent him from picking it up. And Bishop discussing things with the referee right now as Gudas busted out of the box. That's Saint Laurent, the referee down there. Lightning have killed the penalty. The Sharks have outshot the Lightning 15-5 since Tampa Bay opened the game with 3 shots.
He had 6 of those shots on this power play. And 6 good ones.
Hannon out in the slot. Carl is stick tied up, is still able to get a piece of it. Out comes Domestikov. Swings wide. The race is on. Brown cuts him off. Beating it out of Schuster. Stamkos. Brewer fires, misfires, and it's taken now by Barclay Goodrow. He's looking for help in the rush. Here comes Kennedy shooting. Bishop, another save. Knocked down. Shepherd has it. Fires. Bishop, another save. 17 in this first period and counting with 2:13 to go. Puck just tapped out of the reach of Steven Stamkos. Goodrow back the other way. Wingels takes a look. Who's coming late? It's Shepherd. Shepherd swings in front to the slot. The shot, it's blocked by Callahan. Shepherd carried to the boards by Callahan. Drouin trying to pry it free. Works against Barclay Goodrow, and the Lightning do control. Trying to settle things down, and both teams changing piecemeal. Garrison. Now with Filppula on, Callahan cutting through the middle. Going to split 2 Sharks.
Oh, what's the difference there? Oh, he's going to call it now. No, he's calling a too many men on the ice penalty and not an interference call on Callahan. You tell me the difference between that and the one that Gudas just got called interference for. That's what Callahan's talking about as well. What is the big difference? All they're getting is a too many men on the ice call. No difference.
San Jose penalty, bench minor, too many men on the ice.
See, it's amazing to me, these guys. Watch this play. He's got the puck. He just let go of it. He got hit twice. No kidding. That's what he is, but he's still the puck carrier. Gudas had the same thing called, and they called an interference call just about a few minutes ago.
Well, Todd McClellan, his team's momentum disrupted here. They've outshot the Lightning 12-1 in recent action, and now they're shorthanded with the bench penalty. 1:30 to go in the first period, and a chance for the Lightning to get the first goal despite all that Sharks pressure. Tomas Hertl is serving the minor. Garrison has it. He and Stralman up top on this power play, and it's broken up by Pavelski. Leaves it out for Nieto, just out of his reach. Stralman controls. Stamkos back for it. Lightning 5th in the league at 25% of the power play. Sharks on the kill at 82%, but Tampa Bay on home ice 30%. That's been a key to their 6-1-1 home record and their 4-game winning streak on home ice. Under a minute to go in the period, Stamkos sends it off the stick of Logan Couture out of play. Stay tuned for the Gulf Coast Honda dealers' first intermission report. Paul Kennedy chatting with Jason Garrison. Kelly Nash and the Fox Sports Florida girls join us to talk about social media night, highlights and stats as well.
Well, here's where that face-off circle comes in. When you have the play inside the zone, this is on the power play. This is a must-win.
Stamkos wins the draw. Garrison around. Filppula. Usually found on the near boards. Setting up far side. Stamkos drifting to the corner. Gets the pass. Callahan, of course, parked in front. The shot. And it's deflected off Niemian to the corner. He looked one way. The puck went the other. Great move out in front by Callahan. But the drop pass is stolen. Couture sends it back on Bishop.
Well, Niemi did not know where that puck went.
20 seconds to go here in this first period. Jonathan Drouin gets the line. Sending it now to Palat. He's checked by Hannon. Kucherov trying to keep the play alive. 9 seconds. Couldn't center against Tannen. And Desjardins will clear it out. Boy, Bishop and the Lightning outshot 19-6 in Chicago in the first period. And the horn sounds here at the end of one. The shots are 17-9. Sharks with still 31 seconds of power play time for the Lightning. We're scoreless through 20 minutes. And Ben Bishop once again ready to go right at the drop of the puck. Flutter in that first period with all the action, particularly around Ben Bishop. Antti Niemi using his head. They combine to keep it scoreless. The Corona Tailgate Package scores you 2 tickets, 2 sandwiches, and 4 Coronas for all Saturday home games. Packages start as low as $75. Buy now at TampaBayLightning.com/tickets. Lightning home Saturday night against the New York Islanders. They will be playing them up in the island next week, so very interesting set of games facing the Lightning, but they got their hands full right now, Chief. The Sharks with those 17 shots in the first period, and the possession time was very impressive by San Jose.
Yeah, they used 30 shots towards the goal, as you point out, and 14 for the Lightning, and then you can see pretty much where that play was throughout that whole first 20 minutes, and it started out very, very promising. In fact, the first 3 or 4 minutes, the Lightning were all over the Sharks and had some pretty good scoring chances against Niemi, but it turned quickly in favor of the Sharks, very quickly, and that power play was just 6 shots on the goal and some really good opportunities for San Jose to open up the scoring, but Bishop again was so strong like he was against Chicago.
Lightning are in the midst of their first opportunity. As we look at the chase review, they've got 31 seconds remaining on the penalty to the Sharks, the bench minor, and look at those scoring chances as well as the shots. The Lightning without possession of the puck in a position to throw more hits, certainly with 12, and face-offs pretty even, and the score even. As Lightning fans thankful for that. Here's tonight's great moment in hockey history, brought to you by Geico. On this day in 1992, Pat Jablonski posted his first shutout in Lightning franchise history with a 1-0 win over the Ottawa Senators at Expo Hall. Jablonski denied all 38 shots he faced. Who's that coach for the Ottawa Senators? Rick Bowness, Lightning associate coach now. Trying to rally the troops. Couldn't get it done. Jabber, 38 stops on this day in Lightning history. Brought to you by Geico.
I'll tell you, it's one of the things when you talk about that, Rick, when you're Lightning having out-hit San Jose, there's some school of thought it just means that you haven't had the puck as often as the other team. And you have to get more hits when you're trying to get that puck back.
Ben Bishop has been unbelievable. As we talked about, 19 saves first period against Chicago, no goals against. 17 saves tonight, no goals against in the first period against San Jose. And he's hoping that his team can rise to the challenge as they did throughout the evening Tuesday, Chief, and really carry the play to the Hawks in that third period, a game they eventually lost in the shootout.
Yeah, that's a real factor. And again, point out that win in Chicago kind of propelled Ben to the #1 position with the Lightning as far as goaltenders were concerned. And
yeah, last year.
Yeah. He said that he wants to be like a Lundqvist, where you get 30 wins a year and a minimum of 60 games a year. He's pretty good if he turned out as good as the King.
2 pretty good ones going at it tonight. Bishop, of course, setting a franchise record, 37 wins last year, and Antti Niemi tied for second last year with 39 wins. As the puck covered, play continues. The officials are not going to halt play for a frozen puck along the boards, though Steven Stamkos protests a little bit and gets an explanation from Saint Laurent with the penalty expiring. Tomas Hertl serving that minor penalty, and now the team's in full strength.
You take a look at that. When you see that play there, they really storm and swarm that puck carrier. They're short-handed. They had 3 guys over there, and they ended up getting the puck, getting the face-off, and killing off some valuable time on that penalty.
1 power play chance apiece, and these teams next to each other, high in the rankings. We told you Lightning at 25%. The Sharks just ahead of them at 25.5%. So see what the power plays do tonight over the course of the evening. Here's Jumbo Joe Thornton in that zone. Hands it off, and Mirko Mueller had backed off. There was some thought that he might get a rest in this game tonight, but it's Matt Irwin who is a healthy scratch on the San Jose defense, along with Big John Scott and Adam Burish. Here's a pass ahead for Palat. Lobs it ahead for Kucherov, trying to catch up to it, and Burns out there to sweep it away. Palat to Johnson. Settles the puck down. Johnson gets it back. Kucherov near the net. Joining the play in deep was Andre Schuster, activating there. Johnson deals it back for Palat. And Carl's try is deflected. Bounce down to Kucherov. Burns is checked. Got it free though. And Hertl moving it ahead. Mueller does not play the puck, but Matt Carl, a 2003 San Jose draft pick, played his first 3 years in the league with San Jose. They'll dump it back in and change. Puck tapped off Killorn, comes back to the Tampa Bay defense, and Schuster just able to get it out to center ice. Demers ahead for Couture. Rink-wide pass. Nieto speeds after it. Meets up with Schuster. Filppula helps out. Andre Schuster has Filppula cutting up the middle. Steps away from Marleau. Couture coming back to win the puck, but we get a hooking called here. And the Lightning will get the power play. Nieto gets the explanation as he heads to the box.
San Jose penalty, 83, 2 minutes hooking.
I think he was trying to figure out exactly why, because of the... He was trying to prevent that from happening. Then you see the shot coming out there. See the stick go on the hands. All it has to do is just touch him now. And they're going back to calling that.
So a power play chance for the Lightning. Back-to-back opportunities in the scoreless tie early in the second. Penalty at 2:19. Harrison shot knocked down by Vlasic. Carried out by Marleau. Driving it over the shoulder of Bishop. Sharks change it up. Desjardins coming out along with Pavelski on the penalty-killing unit. Nice move by Filppula through center. Has a lane into the zone to Stamkos. Angles it back around to Callahan. And the bouncing pass eludes Garrison. Paul tried to help him hang on to the 20s there in the interview, Chief. It's his 29th birthday. It's really his 30th. It's Paul who's 29. Burns hammers it away and up the boards. Bishop keeps it away from Couture. Strawman takes it. Just over a minute gone on the penalty. Carl gets it back from Kucherov. Deals it to Johnson. Looks toward the net. Now back to the point. Johnson to Carl. Winding. Firing. Sends it high and wide to the glove of Antti Niemi. Kucherov to Johnson. Marleau keeps an eye on him. Carl with 32 seconds to go in the power play. Drouin with a pass. Johnson in front. He had 2 men and room behind Niemi. The pass just eluded Kucherov and Palat.
Yeah, both of them were right there, hoping that they could grab a hold of it. Palat probably had the best chance.
Kucherov trying to deal it back. Couture right there. He'll clear it out. Bishop moving it to Carl. Filppula with speed, hits center. Nieto set to come out. Pass knocked down. Sharks back at full strength. Gudas the drive. Reached Niemi. Makes the save. And Mueller takes it. The 19-year-old defenseman. Handing it now to Jason Demers. And he'll play it out. Races on. And Nieto gets ahead of Brewer. Goodrow following up for the Sharks. Away comes Alex Killorn. Batted away by Braun. Taken now by Callahan. Nice move. Cuts to the net. Goes forehand. Save Niemi. And he covers it up. What a spectacular save by Niemi. A great move by Callahan.
Boy, we've seen that a couple of occasions, and he scored on one of them, and he just gives you that puck way on the short side. Watch, he just makes a nice move to get around the defenseman Braun, and then watch as he went, and he kind of gives you that move to the outside. Watch here on the back end, force that goalie to stay there a little bit longer, but Niemi just got over to the left side very quickly.
Callahan, a couple of big goals on the road trip. Game winner in Columbus. One where it was the puck was lodged in the back of his skate, dropped out of the heel as he got dumped, and it fell across the goal line. In that 7-4 win, and then the game-deciding goal in the shootout. He also had 2 assists in each game. Pavelski playing it in. Bishop out to handle it. Boy, Niemi, you forget, he won the Stanley Cup with the Blackhawks in 2010. Then they got into cap trouble. Couldn't sign him. Here's a steal. Thornton shoots. He scores. Red light on. The official indicates it's a goal. That rattled around the posts, and Joe Thornton on a giveaway scores the game-opening goal.
It will be an unassisted goal. Lightning had control of it. And take a look right here. They try to pass it out front right here. And they did, but they passed it right to Thornton. And it is a 1-0 Shark lead here on their 18th shot of the game.
6th goal of the year for Thornton. Point number 1,210. Passing 1,200 points back in October. And the Sharks now have 4 players with 16 points to lead their scoring list. Talk about balanced scoring. Domestikov pounded it at that line by Ty McGinn, and the play is offside as McGinn had played it in, joined by Kennedy.
Yeah, it's there's coming in tonight's game, there was 6 teams that had 6 players with 10 or more points. San Jose was one of them with 6. Lightning, Washington, and Boston have 7 players that had 10 or more. So you can see the teams that score a lot of goals, they get the pretty good balanced scoring.
Kennedy hustles down the board, sends it toward Bishop, and he turned it away. Sluggish start for the Sharks the other night against the Panthers, and in fact, McClellan said here's a drive knocked down in a crowd of players. Garrison getting to it. He said they lacked catalysts from an energy standpoint, and the D-zone coverage was particularly weak, and they've answered that with tonight's energy. That drive is off the stick of Bishop, and Burns chased back by Drouin. Garrison worked his way in front of Kennedy. However, the play sent back in offside. 13:42 to go in the second period. Joe Thornton connects for the game-opening goal.
Joe Thornton pouncing on an opportunity. Career goal number 348, 16th against the Lightning alone. It's 1-0. There are a number of men with Floridian connections on Todd McClellan's coaching staff. Take a look at this. Jack Johnson, or rather Jim Johnson, in the blonde, short-cropped hair, was here preceding John Cooper. He was the head coach of the AHL staff at Norfolk, served with the big club for a while, and next to him, the Hall of Famer, Larry Robinson, Montreal defenseman, a Sharks assistant. He actually makes his offseason home here in Bradenton. We showed you Corey Schwab as well. He had 21 wins over 90 games with the Bolts. Larry Robinson, record-in-chief, had to miss a couple of games with the Sharks. He attended Guy Lapointe's retirement ceremony up in Montreal last week. Number 5 went to the rafters in the Bell Center.
Thanks very much, Paul. The Lightning trying to generate something offensively here. Morrow pulls his way to a puck. He's on with Boyle and Brown. Shepard checked by Boyle, and Morrow comes banging in there. Goodrow. Met by Schuster. Boyle digs it out of a group of skates. Gets it to the point. Brewer looks toward the net. He'll fire, looks for a tip. And Morrow is tied up there by Hannon. Pass in for Boyle, and Boyle trying to jam it home. He stopped. There's a try by Brown that's deflected away and picked up by the Sharks. And out comes James Shepard. Fights off a check. He'll continue on. Pretty good session for the Lightning, especially with that line that saw only about 2 minutes, 20 seconds apiece in the first period.
Yeah, it was a good comeback for them because that was the line that gave the puck up to Thornton to get the lead goal. But the Lightning have to do more of that. Play a little bit more in the offensive zone. Couture.
Fire. Save by Bishop. And the rebound is taken away by Marleau. Bishop reaching down to cover it. Marleau's stick got there first. Burns leads all defensemen in the NHL with 6 goals. His try there blocked. Burns gets it back. He was playing forward last year at 22 goals. Shot deflected by Garrison. Comes to Palat. He's got Kucherov down the wing. He cuts in toward the net. Got it on goal. It's steered away. And fired over the net by Garrison. Picked up by Kucherov. Back to Gudas. Rifling one wide. Mueller had it taken away. Johnson has it. Looks. Wrists it. Blocked by Marleau. Knocked out of the air. Controlled by the Lightning. Palat circles. Fires. And he sends it over the stick of Niemi off the glass. Johnson gets it back. Palat. Kucherov gets a turn. Fires. Niemi is saved. Johnson shoved on top of the goaltender. And a penalty upcoming here. And Johnson saying, who, me? And
it's amazing. He's checked onto him.
After we saw what we saw Tuesday night,
yeah.
I'm a little disbelieving on this one. Interference.
Oh, my goodness.
Saint Laurent,
he was there last night, too. He was the guy that was calling it all.
Tampa Bay number 9, minor penalty, goalie interference.
Oh, baby, you got to be kidding me. Come on. Look at this. He's standing there right. Now he's moving. There's the shot. Oh. 8:37 will be the time. San Jose's first power play was unbelievable with 6 shots on it. They had to have had at least 4 tremendous scoring chances on it.
Sharks, as we mentioned, just ahead of the Lightning in terms of the rankings at 4th. And they come in having their streak of 5 straight games scoring a power play goal ended by the Panthers. Still, they're 5 of their last 15, including their first opportunity here. They win the face-off. Vlasic, watched by Boyle. Demers in the slot, and Shepard couldn't direct it toward the net. Poked to the corner by Hertl, taken by Strawman and held in by the Sharks. But they've excelled at holding pucks in the zone. Shot by Vlasic, a save by Bishop. Fired away by Strawman and out. Demers back 4. 5 shots in the second period. 6 shots now for the Sharks. And 4 for the Lightning. With period number 2. It's dropped back of the point. Burns arrives in time to hold it in. Hertl's pass taken over. And it's golfed down the ice by Nemestikov. 1:15 to go on the Johnson penalty for goaltender interference.
Lightning are much more assertive on the puck carrier in this penalty than they were in the first period.
Pavelski forced wide by Brewer. Around to Couture, who has 4 power play goals. Palat with the puck. Going to find a way to get it to Nemestikov. Broke it up. Pavelski will slip back in. Across for Thornton. Thornton with a pass. Deflected. Golfed away, or I should say fought away there by Garrison. Sharks still have it, though. Couture with a shot. A save by Bishop. He had to reach around Marleau to get a piece of that. And the clearing pass knocked out of the air by the Sharks. Brent Burns. Garrison double teamed in that corner. 30 seconds remaining on the Sharks power play. Garrison gets help from Nemestikov, taken back by the Sharks. Burns wrists it, and it's deflected off the glass, comes down to Thornton. Wheels it in the slot. Broke it up by Nemestikov. Cleared out by Palat. Long change for the Lightning.
Very good shift right there for those penalty killers.
Pass ahead. Kennedy's alone. He scores. Tyler Kennedy fires it home as he got in behind the defense and makes it 2-0 San Jose. .10:38 will be the time. Watch the play coming right here.
He had his skates. It looked like he was offside. He had his skates on the line, though. Timed it perfectly. The pass was perfect as well, and they find the 5-hole just as the penalty was over.
That expired 1 second prior to that. Tyler Kennedy, only his 5th game of the year. It's his first goal. As Gudas sends it into the corner. And icing the call against the Lightning. So the crowd upset at the penalty call, and they've been quieted by the goal with Kennedy scoring on the long stretch pass. John Cooper and his team looking to rebound from a rare 2-0 deficit, especially here in home ice.
Well, they haven't really been able to answer San Jose at all. San Jose has just completely dominated this first 30 minutes of this game.
Out come the Lightning in a 2-on-2. Alex Killorn returning to action tonight. Leans in there against Justin Braun. Desjardins picks up the puck. Lightning hold it in with Callahan firing, and it's blocked. Desjardins made the block there. It's kept down low by the Lightning. And Andrew Desjardins will pick it up. He's one of 4 free agents on their roster for this game tonight. 3 7th-round picks and a 6th-rounder, so they've got some top talent, and they've got some guys who have worked very hard to get a chance, and some good scouting. That's always been the case with the San Jose Sharks. Here's Wingels down the wing. Fires in front, and it's followed up by Goodrow. His shot was blocked. Shepherd's try disrupted from the slot.
When you come back in your zone, you have to have a purpose. Lightning had everybody back, but they're all watching the puck carrier. Nobody watching anybody coming in later from the offside. And the puck carrier's ahead of you. You can't do anything about it. You got to pick up the loose guys.
Mueller took a swat at a bouncing puck. Couldn't get it toward the net. Killorn will hoist one in the air. And it'll be another icing called against the Lightning.
Well, Tampa Bay Lightning Hockey on Sun Sports is brought to you by Hat Tricks Tavern. And again, we talked to you about what a great spot to go before or after a game. But they also have catering. So if you have a business meeting or a luncheon, even a tailgate party, they are there for your next event. So give them a call today and have them bring Hat Tricks on the road to you.
Burns and Niemi, the netminder, get the assists on the goal by Kennedy. Burns with a great pass. Been interesting to as Thornton off the faceoff shooting, and it's blocked. Track what position from year to year Brent Burns is playing. Back on defense. Drafted as a forward, Jacques Demers. Not Jacques Demers, Jacques Lemaire, who was coaching Minnesota, that drafted him in 2003, moved him to defense with the Wild. Then back to forward, then back to defense. He spent his first 2 years with the Sharks on defense. Then played forward last year. And now back on D. My apologies to Jacques Lemaire, who very well may be watching tonight. He lives in Sarasota. 2-0 the Sharks in front here in the second.
Steven Stamkos donning the new black unis as we bring you back into the second period. Steven Stamkos also said that he loves the unis, love that we're bringing it back, especially loves that the Bolts logo is maintained on the front. We want to know what you guys think. Tweet us at Sun Sports Bolts using the hashtag Bolts in Black, and we will be reading your tweets throughout the game. I've got one from Lauren Berg. She tweeted along the same lines as what Steven Stamkos thinks. It's great to see the team embracing parts of their past while also incorporating present-day stuff fans enjoy. And she told me off the cuff it is the Bolts logo she loves.
Kelly, thanks very much. Lightning trying to generate some offense in this first game with their new uniforms. Logan Couture, he's got a man in the clear. Couldn't quite get that puck to Marlowe. It bounced on him, picked up by Nieto. He's checked by Gudas. And Nieto went down as the Lightning have control now. Tampa Bay trailing by a couple of goals. First time at home this year. They've trailed just a handful of times by 1 goal, Chief. And losing in regulation 2-1 to the Devils and a shootout to the Ottawa Senators. But looking to respond here.
Yeah, those 20 games they had a little bit more offense to it. Right now they're sitting on 13 shots, and 2 power plays have produced 1 shot, but you haven't seen too much sustained effort or pressure rather in the offensive zone by the Lightning in these first 2 periods thus far. And that's been a key to their success, is that they've really been able to hold the play inside that offensive zone. And right now, San Jose is just better at it, getting the puck out of their trouble.
The Little Caesars Family Fun Pack scores you 4 tickets, 4 pizzas, 4 ice creams, 4 sodas for all Saturday and Sunday home games. Packages start as low as $100. Buy now at TampaBayLightning.com/tickets. Well, Lightning home Saturday. They'll have these same back in black uniforms on and hosting the Islanders, so you can take advantage of the Little Caesars ticket offer or the back in black 4-pack. Or it's a lot of ways to save and see the Lightning this year.
Well, everybody would love to see some kind of a spark or a push to get some offense going to get them excited and get into the game.
Tyler Johnson working with Palat and Kucherov. Some slight changes to the lineup with the return of Killorn. Cedric Paquette, the healthy scratch, and this is one line John Cooper didn't want to toy with.
No, not at all. They've been outstanding, as we talked about, Rick. 32 points, 12 of which were goals in the 9 games they've been put together.
They were put together in the 3rd period of the game in Winnipeg back on that Western trip, and really exploded. They look for Winkles in front, saved by Bishop. Shepard found him with a pass. Sharks have had a number of players in behind that Lightning defense. Here comes Stralman. He'll start it in. Niemi blocks it. Puck taken by Goodrow. He hands it away. And now Mueller gets it back. 2 of their youngsters on the ice for the Sharks. Shepard tips it in. 27-14 the shots favoring San Jose. Eric Brewer. Back for Stralman.
Boy, for a road game, San Jose certainly has a lot of jump. Boy, they are really quick to the puck. They're quick to move it. They're quick to get into the offense.
Hurdle dropping it back. It's taken over by Callahan. He gives it now to Filppula, racing ahead. Killorn with him. Filppula trying to get the shot away. Couldn't. Now shoots. And it hit the post. Glove side of Niemi. Demers hung in there as long as he could, and Filppula finally did get it off the post. Bishop leaving it for Schuster. Vlasic has Couture in the middle at center. Swings it, fires. Turned aside by Bishop. Couture has it back. To the point, it's Braun. Winds and fires, and Killorn took that off the foot. J.T. Brown was checked, and right there Couture wristing it, skimming it wide of Bishop. Vlasic back down the boards. Very alert effort here by the Sharks. They were sharp in the first period, and it's not abated here in the second. Dumped in by Brown. With his speed, he'll get to it. Avoids the hit from Vlasic. Leaves it behind the net. Braun in there, and it's played to center by Kennedy. On the re-entry, Vlasic spoils that, and Bishop keeps it away from Marleau. Under 4 minutes to go here in the second period. Morrow getting it to Boyle. Boyle down those boards. Lets the shot go, and Justin Braun tipped it away. Gudas sails it wide of the net. Here comes Garrison. Kennedy digs in against him. Standing by for the Lightning. Taken over, though, by Tyler Kennedy. Checked by Nemestikov. And a hit thrown by Desjardins on Gudas.
Why isn't that a dive by Kennedy?
Bishop out to play it. Looking for Brendan Morrow. Back across for Gudas. Goodrow on the forecheck in there. Cutting ahead, Steven Stamkos. Through center. Sharks converge. Hannon trying to separate it for the puck. Stamkos battle to get a piece of it again. Joined by Nemestikov. And Jonathan Drouin, his wingers for this game. Drouin back for it. Carl. Denied the red line by Shepard. tries it again from the red line. Will hammer it in. And an over for it. Drouin will get there. Nice move. Couldn't hold the puck. Now it's Filppula trying to pry it out of the skates of Goodrow. Quite a scrum developing in the corner. Cannon gets his stick free to play it. Tommy Wingels there. And backing up the play, Callahan shooting. Handled by Niemi. He's got time to cover it up with 2:10 to go here in the second period. And San Jose leading 2-0. A close call here for the Lightning.
San Jose up by 2 with a little bit remaining here in the second. It's time now to take a look at our GMC big matchup. And coming into the game tonight, as you see the rankings for the Sharks and the Lightning in goals and in power play percentage. So offensively, both these teams are very solid and very strong, as a matter of fact, in producing goals. Right now, San Jose has the 2. The Lightning has to start getting some of that goal scoring ability unraveled here tonight.
Tyler Johnson had a string of 7 straight road games with at least a point snapped in Chicago, and included in that a 3-game goal scoring streak. And of course he took that cross check from Brent Seabrook in the third period. Couldn't finish the game. Hit thrown by Palat on the corner. And Palat has it. Now to Johnson. Couldn't corral the pass, and it just dribbled away. Braun goes down. Johnson has the puck. Feeds it across in front. It's set just wide as Kucherov is positioned over there in the circle. This line going to work. Maybe it's the spark. Kucherov in front. Couldn't free up his stick as he got the step on Braun, who tied him up from behind. Carl. Andre Palat back into that zone. Working against Justin Braun, who shoulders him off to the boards. Burns gets rid of the puck. Marleau has to curl back, and it's jabbed away. And as Brewer was...
It's going to be 2 minutes on the ice for the Lightning.
He was just trying to get into the bench, and Carl was coming on, and the puck hit him, but it was inadvertent.
Tampa Bay penalty, bench minor, 2 minutes on the ice.
But he didn't play the puck. I thought you had to play the puck. It hit him in the skates, but I guess not.
Stay tuned to the Gulf Coast Honda Dealer second intermission report. Jonathan Drouin will join Paul outside the Lightning room. We'll introduce you to tonight's community hero, highlights and stats as well. And Jonathan's heading to the box. He's going to serve this bench minor, and that's typically the case on bench penalties and goalie penalties. He's a nice guy to have coming out of the box.
Which will be the start of the third.
Third power play for San Jose. Feed it back around. Thornton in front to Pavelski. Off the post. Covered by Bishop. It's still loose. He jabs it away. Marleau fires over the crossbar. Bishop was down without his stick. They had the whole top of the net. Marleau missed. And the post helped out as well.
Did ever.
Minute to go in the period. Marleau racing and shooting. Bishop a stop. Rebound played back to him. And he makes a stop on Marleau. Couple of fortuitous bounces for the Lightning here, and trying to hold off the Shark power play as they have attacked with ferocity here late in the second period. Pavelski mishandles the puck, and Brown ties him up. Here comes Boyle on a steal. Possesses the puck. Lightning changing. Johnson now joining the play. Works it free. Well, they've done a good job of bottling up the Sharks here and perhaps can create something. Lightning 2 shorthanded goals the last 4 games. Carl fires, blocked by Pavelski, worked free, and it's sent wide by Palat, who was taken down. The crowd looking for a call on Couture, not getting one. Thornton waiting at the line to get the pass. Taken over by the Lightning with only 4 seconds to go in the period. There's the horn. Still 37 seconds left to kill, and the penalty being served by Jonathan Drouin. Ben Bishop, another pretty busy period. 14 shots against, 12 saves as the Sharks take a 2-0 lead after 40 minutes here at Amalie Arena. Mackey and Son Sports is brought to you by Gulf Coast Honda. Visit your Gulf Coast Honda dealers for great deals on new Hondas. Go to gchondadealers.com. By Kaiser University, over 90 programs online and on campus. Learn more at kaiseruniversity.edu. And by Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers. Lightning ready to hit the ice for this third period at Amalie Arena with their new duds and looking for a big comeback. As this is only the fourth time this year they've trailed after 2 periods. This is game number 17. Give you an idea, as if you didn't know, what kind of terrific start they've had of the season, Chief, but a new challenge, and let's see how they react.
Yeah, we talked about this stretch. John Cooper talked about this stretch, a number of playoff teams that they're facing now, and right now the first 2 they've struggled with in 40 minutes. In Chicago, they came on strongly in the third period, and tied the game and forced it to a shootout. And I think they need to get a good start here at the start of the third. Maybe they can have the same result, at least get the game tied, and then go from there.
Well, they'll begin shorthanded, killing off the remaining time of that bench penalty. We look at the Chase review. The stats updated through 2 periods, and 31 shots, 29 saves for Ben Bishop, who certainly has done his part in this contest.
11 of those shots have come with the man advantage for San Jose. The Lightning have had but 1 shot and their 2 opportunities. So the 5-on-5, it's been fairly even, but it's the power play has really been the big difference in that shot total.
8 chances for the Lightning. They've had some good ones, as the Bud Light Up for Whatever package scores you 2 tickets and 4 Bud Lights for all Wednesday and Thursday games. Packages start as low as $75. Buy now at TampaBayLightning.com/tickets. And the Lightning hitting a few goalposts. We saw one on that vignette just coming back from commercial break. Filppula off the post and trying to get one behind Antti Niemi, who has played very well, and in his career he's 4-0-1 against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, he has tremendous career stats. He's been very good at following the puck. The key thing about it for this game anyway, he never had a whole lot to do in that first period, but there's long stretches where he wasn't really seeing the puck or seeing any kind of activity in his end. And that's when your concentration will start to wander.
37 seconds remaining on the Lightning bench minor. J.T. Brown fires the puck in. Burns there as Boyle and Brown open the period in front of Carl and Strawman. Boyle interrupts the pass. Will send Burns back toward the San Jose zone. Burns playing almost 18 minutes of the first 40 in this game. And as they bid adieu to Dan Boyle and Brad Stewart off their defense, felt he needed to go back there. And he has been very strong offensively and has lugged the minutes as Bishop holds play here with 4 seconds to go in the power play.
Yeah, Ben has a very good idea of those end boards, Rick. That one right there missed by Burns, and it came out quickly, and he was right there to stop Couture. But that's the key. When you take a look at this power play, this is their 3rd opportunity, and they've really been able to have a lot of zone time with the man advantage.
Stamkos out against Shepard on this faceoff. Speaking of Dan Boyle, I would think he's going to be in the lineup. He's supposed to be very close to returning for the Rangers. Of course, out with an injured hand. As out of the box, Drouin going to the Lightning bench. They're at full strength as they hit center ice, and it's Stamkos in the zone. Filppula to try to control the pass. Callahan joins them as Cooper reunites that trio. Here's Wingels the other way. Wingels from the angle. Fires, saved by Bishop, and the rebound knocked down by Goodrow. Bishop covers the puck. He took that shot off the sleeve, it looked like, of his left arm. And Wingels talking to Bishop about it.
What really happens when you take a look at the run, this is the tail end of it, but when it really starts with the other end, you see him getting out with his left elbow. But San Jose's defense really had a great gap control, and they stopped the play for the Lightning just inside the blue line. There you see it coming off the pad, then the shoulder. And that's what produced that rush. You control that blue line, you're going to make a team play in their own end an awful lot of the time.
Nemestikov pounces on a puck. 3-on-1. Nemestikov cuts in, feeds it across, knocked down in front by Demers as Killorn tried to react quickly. Couldn't get the shot on goal, but he's got control now with Nemestikov. Hands it off to Drouin. Drouin swings in front, turns, trying to go forehand. And the Sharks defend with Desjardins chipping at the center. Well, Drouin looked like he had room had he kept going in front of the net.
Yeah, he tried to spin to the forehand and take the forehand shot, and that's when they were able to close him off.
Lead pass for Kucherov. John Cooper talking today about how he was going to defend against the Sharks. He says, well, we're a pretty fast team ourselves. Puck is centered in front just by Johnson's stick. Kucherov trying to find him there with a sharp pass. And Drouin telling Paul at the intermission, the Lightning feel they need to play with speed. They haven't to this point, so it's a quicker start here in this third period.
They had a great start in the first 3 or 4 minutes, and then San Jose just took completely over.
Bishop scoops up the puck.
They haven't. When you take a look at what they have done so far in this schedule, Rick, and we talked about it a lot in our pregame show about how we played the bulk of their games on the road, and they're still having a winning record. That's incredible. In the first 40 minutes, it almost looked like a home game for San Jose. They were so quick to the puck, and they were just absolutely flying out there, and they controlled the play.
They've won 8 of the last 10 meetings in this series as Filppula trying to hold off the stick of Vlasic. Deals it to the point. Penalty upcoming to San Jose, and now we'll get the whistle. And Vlasic is going to be ushered to the penalty box at 2:39.
Tripping will be the call. He tripped up.
San Jose penalty, 44, 2 minutes tripping.
Filppula. So this is where you got to go now. You've had 2 opportunities. You managed but 1 shot. There's the trip right there by Vlasic. And now you got a great chance here early in this period to get a proximity goal for you.
Well, they get their best defensive player off the ice. Vlasic a +9 and an underrated defender in the National Hockey League. Thornton wins the faceoff. Burns fires it around off the glass support. Stamkos didn't pick it up right away. The Sharks play it out to center.
That's the difference, that when the Sharks have had the power play, they've been perfect on their faceoffs. This in the offensive zone, 4 for 4.
Filppula lugs it in. Goes to the corner. Held off by Hannon. Burns leaned on that clearing attempt. He got it by Stralman and down the ice. Bishop throws it across. And it's disrupted now by Couture. And typical of what we've seen all night, the Sharks have been strong on the puck. Stralman tripped up there by Wengels, and a delayed penalty. And the Lightning anxious to hand that puck to the Sharks for a longer 2-man advantage, and they will get it now. 3:29 the time of this penalty.
Yeah, a minute left. Minute and 11.
Penalty, number 57. 2-minute tripping.
Opportunity pounding on the door for the Tampa Bay Lightning with a 2-man advantage.
You have to really... This is where you got to make hay. You're going to really be able to take advantage now. You move quickly, move the puck quickly, get the open shot.
Lightning with 2 5-on-3 goals. Garrison. Filppula in the corner. Here's a shot, a save by Niemi on the one-timer by Stamkos. Johnson retrieves the puck. Now to Filppula. Callahan in front. Here's a drive by Stamkos. Blocked by Hannon. Saved, though, by Garrison. 43 seconds left in the first penalty. A lot of time. Stamkos around to Johnson. Stamkos with it. Filppula. Callahan in the slot. Steps away from the front of the net. Backs right in again. Garrison. Back to Filppula. In front to Callahan. Shooting save. Niemi recovered and kicked it out. Garrison fires. That's blocked. Hannon got a piece of it. Recovered by Filppula. Now to Stamkos. Johnson fires in front. And Niemi 2 saves on Callahan and close. Garrison behind the net. Burns comes up with it. And the Sharks get it out. Lightning got the chances they want. First penalty over as Vlasic steps out of the penalty box. Still 45 seconds to go on the Wingels call. Puck deflects to Nemestikov. Across for Kucherov. He steps in. He fires. It's blocked by Braun. Drouin with it. The youngster turns. Fires across. Kucherov to Carl. He'll drive it. Deflects. Niemi a save. Drouin shoots. Save Niemi. Got behind him. Braun cleared it away. Kucherov had it taken away now by Couture. He'll feed it down the ice.
Niemi's been unbelievable, and he's also been fortunate that one play there with his defense being able to cover up for him. But you need to have that if you're going to kill off two-man short situations.
Sharks converge on Nemestikov, and they clear it out. And the penalty to Wingels over, and the Sharks survive a lengthy two-man disadvantage and protect a 2-0 lead. Patrick Marleau back in the Lightning zone. Vlasic with a shot. He missed the net. Tomas Hertl with it. Dumped by Morrow. Hertl back up on his skates. He goes 210 pounds. Morrow going to move it along to Kucherov. Hertl challenged there by Carl. The puck left side of the net. Strawman getting to it. And out come the Lightning with Brian Boyle to center. He'll send it in on Niemi. And Niemi covers. 13:53 to go in the third period. Boy, a great chance for the Lightning. And one shot after another held off.
You all know what you have to
Less
do.
than 14 minutes remain in regulation here in the invading San Jose Sharks by a pair of goals. Let's check out the upcoming schedule presented by Steak and Shake. The next 5 games for Tampa Bay, and you can see 3 of the 5 will be on the road. Kyle Okposo and the New York Islanders will be right here on this sheet of ice come Saturday, and then it's on to Madison Square Garden to take on Marty St. Louis and New York. Henrik Lundqvist between the pipes. Then the Islanders on a back-to-back. John Tavares, Toronto, and the Air Canada Center rounds up that 3-game swing. And then home against the Minnesota Wild. Richard Cheap, a challenging series of 5 games. Right looking at the Bolts right after this one tonight.
Thanks, Paul. And the first 4 in that list, plus this opponent tonight, all in the top 10 offensively in the National Hockey League. The Sharks in that group, but tonight, Chief, it's been the goalies who have been the stars.
Boy, have they ever been. They have. There's been. We talked about San Jose's first power play, Rick, having 6 shots. The Lightning had 6 shots on those 2 power plays they had here at the start. And you take a look at that. Lightning 0 for 4, San Jose 0 for 3 with the man advantage. Both these teams have excellent power plays. So the goalies are doing something well when you can keep these 2 teams off the score sheet with power play.
Vlasic couldn't control the puck. Stamkos has it. Feeds it now to Filppula. Fights his way through a stick check. Back for Callahan, who's got 6 shots in this game. A couple in the 5-on-3. Dudas. That shot blocked. Picked up, though, by Filppula. Gets it back in tight quarters. Relayed now to Garrison. He's trailed by Wingels. Callahan trying to cut around behind the net. Stamkos tripped up. Play continues. Puck left in that corner. Vlasic finally pokes it away to Shepard as the Lightning have the Sharks a little discombobulated now, playing much better in the attacking zone.
They're a little quicker to get to the puck. You got to make sure you limit that. As we always talk about time and space, they were a little slow at getting to the puck in the first 40 minutes. Now they're a lot quicker. They're jumping on it a lot faster. Andre Palat really went off gingerly just before we went out on that last commercial break, and you can see where you see him kind of limping. Take a look at this play right here. There it is right there on a play that should have been an interference call, because after he passed it, the centerman already had the play and the puck under control, so he wasn't even the puck carrier anymore.
If we hear anything on Palat's situation, we'll pass that along. Kovacic blows the whistle on the offside. Shots A little more equitable now, 35-26 for the game, as the Lightning with 9 shots to 4 in the third, helped by that two-man advantage where they had 4 shots on the 5-on-3, a total of 6 on the 2 penalties combined. Johnson, who was shaken up and playing with a sore midsection, but he hasn't shown any signs of it. He's been involved in creating some offense in this game. Puck deflected ahead for Johnson, and the play offside again.
He's pretty tough. I talked with him this morning at the morning skate and asked him how he felt. He says it feels a lot better than it did when it first happened. This is what we're talking about. He was up to pull the puck. See, he's up there like this, and that's when you have those ribs exposed, and he got him just under the armpit. There's no padding there. One of the few areas in the body, the back of the leg, and right there, you don't have a whole lot of padding.
Hurdle sends it in. Bishop set to play the puck, pressured by Hurdle. Bishop calmly got it to Carl out in front, and it's played back to Johnson, and out he comes. As Killorn is taking that left wing side, with Andre Palat being examined by head athletic trainer Tom Mulligan in the staff. It's played out, and Carl back for it. Thornton on him. Thornton's got the lead goal of this game. He made it 1-0 fairly early in the second period. They added to that about 5 minutes later on the goal by Tyler Kennedy. 2-0 Sharks. Kucherov comes back to take it. Lightning making a change here, and so delaying until they get everybody on. Anton Stroman. And Carl move it ahead. Brown shoots it in. Desjardins checks. Plays it up the boards to center. Garrison now on with Gudas. Radko Gudas on the one touch. Drouin will tip it in. And J.T. Brown in there for it. Justin Braun playing it to Desjardins. Drouin comes up the works. Comes up with the puck. Gudas drives it in wide of Niemi. And Marc-Edouard Vlasic there for it. Braun off the boards and down the ice. This will miss Bishop. And the Sharks won the race. Wingels, a speedy type, got there ahead of the defense. And thus we continue. It's Brown. Off the blocker of Niemi. Stamkos joining the play. Challenges Braun. Braun shakes off the check. And he'll lob it over the head of Brewer. Wingels trying to pick it up, and he preceded the puck in the zone offside. The Coke Zero Pin Package scores you 2 tickets, 2 sodas, 2 collectible player pins for select home games. Packages start as low as $20. Buy now at TampaBayLightning.com/tickets.
Well, it looked like the Lightning had a tremendous opportunity there when they did have those 2-man short situations. 6 shots, just some acrobatic goaltending by Niemi kept them off the board. Once they get that first goal, it'll be interesting to see how that happens. It seems when you get that first one, everything else comes up.
They score! The shot by Schuster tipped in front of the net, and the Lightning do get the first goal. They're down 2-1.
Face-offs we talked about. And it was just a matter of getting the puck through. And there's Filppula gets it there, and I think Stamkos is going to get a watch. Filppula wins the face-off, gets it back, just a wrist shot. And there it is, it's tipped in front by Stamkos.
Yeah, they're both reaching for it, but you can see the blade of Stamkos' stick making contact. His 11th goal. As the play comes in front, Sharks find themselves in some unfriendly waters. If you can imagine that, Sharks in unfriendly waters. It's Couture in the corner, fires it front. The shot is just set wide as Burns didn't get much on it. He'll fire again. It's tipped. Bishop the save there. Boy, Nieto got the forehand tip. Burns a little upset, but Bishop in perfect position to make the stop, protecting The score at 2-1.
Sharks with a 2-1 lead as we bring you back into the third period on social media night, and that means getting you, Bolts Nation, involved in our broadcast. I have aired several of your tweets throughout the game, and here's the final one of the night. Wondering what you guys think about these new black sweaters your Bolts are rocking. At Garden of Gold, Nick, these new unis look sick. The black makes us look much more intimidating. And actually, Rick and Chief Steven Stamkos said that he thinks they make them look, quote-unquote, meaner as well.
And throw Chris Dingman's comment, slimmer.
Well, Stamkos scores his 11th on his second shot of the game. He was held off the first two periods.
Shot deflected wide and picked up in the corner now by Johnson. Boyle back for it. Lightning had 10 straight shots, and Stamkos on the 10th, tipping it in. As he scores his 11th, Rick Nash and Tyler Seguin coming in, leading the NHL with 12 goals apiece. Corey Perry with 11, and now Stamkos with 11 as well. Here's Killorn trying to stir it up in the Sharks zone. Kucherov on the scene as well. Thornton takes control of the puck, backhands it out. Knocked down by Pavelski with a high stick. The Lightning the next to control, and Hurdle with it. Protects the puck, getting some help off the bench, turns and sends it behind the goal. Shepard in after it. He's bumped in there by Carl. Schuster and Filppula get the assists on the goal at 9:35. Schuster's third assist. Andre looking for his first goal of the season. Pass ahead to Wingels. Bishop cuts it off. Going to slip it up the boards. Hit the referee. Out come the Lightning. Gudas' pass tipped though. Recovered though. Shepard with it. Looking for Goodrow. He's matched up with Garrison. Morrow takes control for the Lightning. Slips it to Boyle. Couldn't put it in behind the Sharks defense. Picked up by Brown. He's trying to skip through some sticks at center. Wingels has it back. Wingels on his backhand. Handled by Bishop. Covers it up. And we get Wingels pushing and shoving in behind the net with Gudas.
Let's take a look at tonight's high-def highlight brought to you by H.H. Gregg, and we'll show you that deflection in front of the net would put the Lightning within one. Here comes the shot. You see it right there, changing the direction. And we ISO on Steven Stamkos. You see him getting that with his blade. And that's our H.H. Gregg high-def highlight. Stamkos' 11th of the year.
19,004 our attendance tonight, and the crowd spirits lifted by that goal. You can see Callahan acknowledging right off the bat. Way to go. Mirko Mueller back for the puck. Using the glass, gets it to center. Carl just overleads Callahan, and it's played by Burns out of the reach of Couture, and we get an offside, or the icing call against San Jose.
Let's take a look at what Steven Stamkos has done in his last 8 games. As you see there, 10 points, 5 of which were goals, 25 shots, 4 power play points. And you can hold him down for a long time. He didn't have a shot on goal in the first 40 minutes. Like we said, his second shot of the game results in the Lightning's first goal.
Played a little over 11 minutes, 11:19 of the first 40. And we should see a heavy dose of him here in the third, with the Lightning still down a goal and 8:04 to go in the third.
They get the goal. They put that line back together.
Here's a shot by Stamkos. He fires it wide. Carl in for the point. Burns double team. Stamkos trying to come up with it. Battles the youngster Mueller. He kicks the puck along. Nieto got it free. Grabbed by Burns. Slides it to the open wing. And Couture with the try. It's by the stick of Marleau. That was pretty close to offside. And now the puck is bunted out of play. Rick Bowness wanted no piece of that.
A lot of time left, too. You know, you got 7.5 minutes. There's the guy they affectionately call Bones.
He was dodging sticks and pucks over there as they were reaching for it. So
you wonder, you know, when we were talking about before the did score. I was talking over you, Rick, which is, I apologize, but I was saying when you get that first goal scored on you, how are you going to react? We'll see how San Jose reacts to it now. They become a much more cautious team because they have that 1-goal lead. And they try and go on the aggressive side of things and forecheck and play like they did the first 40 minutes.
Andre Palat back on the ice. Good to see. Sharks have surrendered now 22 goals in the third period. Shot by Johnson, dribbles wide. Demers getting to it ahead of Palat. Thornton will play it ahead to the line, and Kovacic said it came out. And so the Lightning have to tag up. They do. Plays back onside with Jason Demers moving it ahead. Thornton out of Pavelski. Schuster sees he's got Hurdle bearing in on him. Brewer operates in that corner. Pavelski finds Desjardins shooting, and it's skimmed off Palat out in front. On the point, Vlasic's try knocked down by Johnson. He'll lug it ahead. Three-man rush for the Lightning. Kucherov in the zone, stripped to the puck by Braun. Here comes Strawman flying down the boards for the Lightning. Tyler Johnson to Carl. Strawman stays in deep, tying up Vlasic. Carl hangs on to it. To the point, it's Drouin. Works his way down the boards, and Carl now with a shot. Kept away from the net by Niemi. Drouin has it. Going to lose Braun. Cuts in, fires off a skate. And Niemi, a great save off the rebound try by Johnson. Hurdle forcing the play to center.
Coming into tonight, the Lightning were tied for second for the most third-period goals with 19. Now that got up to 20.
Desjardins shooting, Bishop to stop. And the rebound dropped at the side of Ben Bishop. He gets up. We get a whistle with 5:56 to go in this third period, and the Lightning try to tie it up.
2-1 to score. You see the time remaining here in the third. It's time now to present our Diamond Performance, brought to you by Ackerman Jewelers, and it's Ben Bishop again for the second consecutive game. You see here, he's just been a horse for the Lightning. 36 saves on the 38 shots that San Jose has taken thus far, and he has been tremendous. And that's our Diamond Performance of the game, Ben Bishop.
Lightning with a shot advantage in the third of 13-7. They've been outshot 31-17 in the first two periods. Stamkos and Thornton on the face-off. Thornton getting to it. Hurdle. Stamkos quickly got in there, supported by Strawman. Ahead for Callahan. He'll keep it on the boards and out to center. Burns. Kyle, a good play to tie up Pavelski at center. 5.5 to play in regulation time. Lightning have played consecutive shootouts to finish off the trip in Detroit and Chicago. Here's Strawman. Down the boards to Stamkos, leaving it for Callahan. Callahan to Stamkos, and Marleau tied him up. Nieto escapes the hit from Strawman. Hits the line with Couture. The shot over the net. Comes off the glass to center. Nieto tagging up. He's got Couture cutting and shooting off the post. Sticks out of Bishop. He makes the save of the rebound try. Marleau followed up. Johnson has Palat cutting through center. Sharks are in good shape defensively. Niemi turns aside the shot. Played back for Johnson. Leaving it for Palat. Kucherov draws double coverage. Wingels got it away to center. Wingels fires it to the open boards. And Gudas playing it off Johnson's stick. It's controlled by Vlasic. Jason Garrison. Now Braun will handle it. Palat checked by the fallen player Shepard as Braun steps into the zone. Bishop out to play that puck. Sharks in there in a hurry, but Bishop aiding Gudas as he gets it to center and runs into Tyler Kennedy, one of the goal scorers in this game. Gudas moving it to Alex Killorn. Cutting by, it's Nemestikov. Hands it away to Kennedy. Steps around Drouin. Fires it in. Bishop able to corral that puck. Schuster trying to play it off the boards. Kennedy has it. He spun around. Nemestikov stole it. Drouin saw he had Demers running at him. And it's held in. It's Kennedy shooting. A sliding block made by Brewer. Down went Kennedy. Here's McGinn. Looks for Hannon. Thornton arrives. Tyler Kennedy had it worked away. Nice play by Jonathan Drouin. And out he comes in the 3-on-2. Thornton trying to hurry back. Drouin back for Nemestikov. Schuster in for the blue line. Couple of Sharks on hand there with just over 3 minutes to go in the third. Scott Hannon moving it along to Kennedy. Couldn't get it by Carl. Now we'll pitchfork it out. Lightning will get to it and play will continue.
Nobody seems to be able to get set up in the zone. It's been a lot of play in the middle of the ice.
Callahan racing through center. Arrives in that San Jose zone. He shoots. A save by Niemi. Picked out the right leg pad, and the Sharks will play it back down the ice. Bishop out to play it. Couture well ahead in that race for the puck. There was no icing. Stamkos to center ice. And he's got Carl stepping in, shooting, and it's handled by Antti Niemi. He'll hang on. 2:26 left on the clock.
Well, you see he keeps looking at that clock as you do. You look up, you'll probably look up within a 30-second span about 10 times before, and you keep thinking, boy, this clock is really moving slowly. Callahan had a really nice chance to see Niemi hitting it with his right toe.
Now Callahan has certainly come back from missing 5 games with a lower body injury, and he has been on the offensive. A lot of shots on goal and getting results, and I can't believe those shots in close against Niemi held off in the 5-on-3. He had 3 good ones. Garrison. The Gudas. Pass was deflected. Kucherov trying to get back to it, and he did so to play it out to center, and the Sharks have to tag up now. We'd love to bottle up the Lightning and Ben Bishop and keep him in net.
Well, we're finding out now that they're not going to be cautious and sit back, which I was wondering how they're going to react. They've just become a much more aggressive forechecking team. And they're really protecting that blue line. Their gap control is incredible right now.
Gudas, the hip check on Nieto, slows him down. Pass across for Radko Gudas. Plays it ahead for Johnson to dribble away to Jason Demers, and Bishop has to back into his crease again. Marleau meets up with Carl. Tyler Johnson with it. Kucherov. This line finishing a shift where they barely got to center ice. Sharks doing an excellent job. The pass off Thornton's stick, and it's taken by Carl.
Well, they've just really bottled the Lightning up. Ever since that goal, the last 3 minutes to go, they've been really controlling the play.
Bishop cannot get off. Stralman to center, and Stralman will shoot it in. A minute to go. Bishop now going to the bench. Jason Demers dispensed with by Callahan, but the Sharks close ranks, and Thornton will chip it out. 47 seconds remaining, and the pass to Callahan. He's got Stamkos, couldn't find him. He's occupied by a 230-pound Burns. Puck played to center. Carl gets a stick on it, tapping it to Filppula. Knocked away by Wingels. However, Schuster recovers it. 31 seconds to go. Schuster to center. Hands it down to Valtteri Filppula. Checked by Matt Nieto. Killorn backed up by Garrison. 17 seconds as Schuster plays it ahead to Callahan. Starts in the zone. He thought he had somebody to his left. Nobody there. It's chipped out to center. Garrison has it with 7 seconds. Callahan on the one-touch, trying to send it in for Stamkos. Vlasic right there, and the Sharks will clear it out. Here's Schuster, and the Lightning are offside, so they run out of time. Antti Niemi celebrates a 32-save victory. Doesn't get the shutout. The Stamkos tip spoiled that. But Niemi now 5-0-1 in his career against the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Sharks shot advantage 39-33, Chief.
Here's the 3 stars brought to you by Steak and Shake. You got both goaltenders. Unbelievably how well they played. Tyler Kennedy with the winning goal is our number 3 star.
Lightning outshot San Jose 16-8 in the third, got their only goal. But the Sharks, with Niemi standing strong, particularly in a 3-on-5 for a lengthy period of time, and the Lightning 4-game home ice winning streak, and the first regulation loss for Tampa Bay in the last 8 games. Lightning Live post-game coming up. Lightning hosting the Islanders here at Amalie Arena on Saturday night.